Hearts. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Kimmy. You look poppin'.
Thanks, bae.
Hey, Kimmy. Did you check your Instagram yet?
Oh my god, Courts, I already hearted your butt pic. Don't even worry.
Gosh, Kim. I'm not as shallow as you are, okay? I was talking about all the comments about your baby's name.
North? Most people don't understand the deep and philosophical meaning behind the name North. Like, Kanye's from Canada, and Canada's up north, and the Northwest Passage in Canada, and I just wanted like this deep and philosophical name that would like celebrate his Canadianese heritage. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Literally, Court, people are so rude to me. Like, when Kanye was in the war, like, I had to work. And like, when he came back, I had to like give up my job, but still, like, women are now 39% of the workforce. I mean, like, I still work, but I make less than Kanye, and I still have fewer benefits. And like, we literally do like the same exact thing, like being a celebrity. And after I come home, after like a long day of being a celebrity, and I just want to relax, and I still have to take care of this baby.
It's called the pink ghetto.
Why are you calling me ghetto? Stop being rude. And even if I wanted to like do something different, like I couldn't. Cause like most like Canadian women are secretaries. Like I couldn't even get a job as like a doctor or like in management or something. Like this is so rude. Like I can't even go to colleges because most universities only accept like 36% women. Like even if I did, I would be sexually harassed and discriminated.
That's because your place in society is lower than the Lord's.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Scott, you're literally being so rude right now. Kim is right, though. Even though in this society, girls are pushed so hard and they only get to take home economics. Like, we can't even take math or science classes. And marriage is also a factor in getting a job. Like, what is this?
Just get a divorce then. Should have aborted your baby.
Oh my god, stop being so rude, Scott. I can't. Abortion's still illegal. Like, do you want me to go to like some shady place and like die? Like, I wouldn't even be able to divorce Kanye because like female-headed families are always like poor and socially degraded.
Like the peasants you are.
Oh my god, stop being so rude. And people are still hating me for North's name. Like, what did I ever do to them? Why can't they just let me laugh?
Breaking news from Canada. On the urgings of Canadian feminists from all provinces, the federal government commenced the Royal Commission on the Status of Women to examine gender inequalities in all aspects of Canadian society.
Yes, John, Canada is currently undergoing its second wave of feminism as women experience major political and cultural shifts in the way they perceive their status and roles. The Royal Commission was successfully created due to the lobbying efforts of the Committee for the Equality of Women in Canada, a coalition of 32 feminist groups like the BC Indian Homemakers Association and the Fédération des Féministes du Québec. The CEWC allowed small radical groups and hundreds of individual women to speak out publicly against the unequal status of women and for the growing movement to collaborate with Teresa Castren and Monique Begin and other Quebecois feminist leaders.
The emergence of this feminist movement may have been attributed to the increased participation of women in education and the workforce. A small number of elite and professional women have used their position to staff women's medical and legal clinics, develop anti-sexist school curricula, and bring feminist policies into formal politics. Women's studies became a legitimate area of study for working-class women, and the 144% increase of women union members made gender politics more visible to everyday women, thus widening the base of feminists. The women's movement is moving toward a more organized focus as they're looking to form the National Action Committee on the Status of Women, NAC, a national coalition of women's groups to implement recommendations that will be made by the Royal Commission.
The Commission, an initiative of Prime Minister Pearson, will be headed by journalist Florence Bird and fittingly includes the famed aeronautical engineer Elsie McGill. Already the Commission has pointed out flaws in gender roles, stating that the care of children is a responsibility to be shared by the mother, the father, and society, and called for federal programs that provide affirmative action, equal pay, maternity benefits, greater government involvement in public housing, a larger family allowance, and daycare centers to support working class mothers.
The organization of the women's groups, the involvement of the union, and finally the creation of the Royal Commission has created the tension needed to launch a forceful feminist movement. Catch you right after the break. Reporting in front of the Strategy for Change Conference in Toronto, a national conference organized by the NAC. Over 800 women from over 30 feminist groups have come to discuss how to get action on the recommendations of the report made by the Royal Commission. During its tour, the Royal Commission held public meetings that provided an arena for women's groups to present their concerns. It finally filed a report with 167 recommendations that included how women were underrepresented at the university level, the recommendations to remove sexism in textbooks, and the call for more female administrators. Even though the Trudeau government worked to implement these recommendations, the economic recession slowed down any progress. In 1972, the National Action Committee of the Status of Women was formed to speed up the implementation of those recommendations, and its actions have seen some effect on the provincial level. As this national movement grows, more groups are forming and being involved to focus on different concerns. Union women challenge the sexist structures and organizational cultures of their unions and are working to get unions to adopt positions that would directly affect women through the use of strikes. Union activists such as Madeleine Parent and Grace Hartman are fighting for women's rights within the labor movement, calling for full equality now. Their plans include for women to be hired in non-traditional positions in all male workplaces, like Telco and Inco. Union members are even forming their own groups, such as the Organized Working Women, the Saskatchewan Working Women, and the Socialist Service, Office, and Retails Workers Union of Canada from British Columbia. These groups are putting pressure on individual provinces by drawing attention to the female sectors within the union. They've held conferences and training programs to develop women's committees that would help women identify their concerns, develop the strategies and tactics to advance their issues, and to strengthen their capacity to intervene in male-dominated union culture. As unions develop new structures and positions to include women, they are sponsoring activities such as the International Women's Day demonstrations and joining coalitions to work on campaigns such as those for employment and pay equity, access to abortions, and quality childcare. As you can see from the pamphlets, feminist groups have focused on communal and cooperative housing, community centers, bookstores, and daycares with alternative structures to oppressive sexual, marital, and familial relations. Women's liberation activists have set up shelters for women recovering from men's violence and participating in building a national reproductive rights movement that was able to decriminalize abortion and make access to birth control and abortion more available. Another important activity was publication, with their informal flyers, highly academic volumes, children's books, self-help manuals, and newspaper columns. Through mainstream and feminist publishing outlets, the feminist movement quickly spread to the attention of everyday and higher-positioned Canadians. They are now working to pass the Canadian Human Rights Act that will ensure equal opportunity to people who may be victims of gender, disability, or religious discrimination.
And now, we return to Los Días de Lucha por Igualdad.
Senorita Canada, do not lead me to follow the path of British feminism.
Pero, Señor Feminista Americano, I must. We are too different.
Claro que no. You are inspired by American writers Kate Millett, Germaine Greer, Gloria Steinem, Charlotte Smith, Firestone. The entire Western world after World War II witnessed new feminism that rejected all limits to the equality of women's rights. We both believed that society's major power relationship was one of domination and oppression of women by men. The existing body of social relationships fue malo.
Señor.
In los dos movimientos, as more and more women worked, they began to see the inequalities and discrimination in the workplace and in schooling. Both rejected the idea that las mujeres had to choose between family and a career. Liberals wanted a level playing field. Radicals wanted a collective, non-capitalistic family format. No pero. Both our movimientos had different currents, como radical, socialist, Marxist, and lesbian feminism. Both used feminist groups, committees, study circles, and publishing to garner attention. We both cared for decent working conditions, pay equity, childcare, access to birth control, abortion, no more forced sterilization.
It may be argued to a large extent that we are muy diferente. Unlike your movimiento, Canada, the movement was
strongly influenced by the first wave, whereas yours focused on left versus right. It had participants, mine had participants from all races, the First Nations, blacks, whites, whereas yours, well, the minority was focused on earning wages. Your movement was mainly middle class women, whereas my movement had women of all color, races, and socio-economic status.
No, both are moving me and those questioned capitalism. Both had socialistic policies within the radical movement.
We were supported by the governmiento. The federal government provided much funding for the NAC, whereas your government was the enemigo. We were tied to the new left, allied with populists, socialists, federalists, unions, nationalists. We were not marginalized or demonized, unlike your movement. We combined with the movement for native rights, the redistribution of wealth, as well as the self-determination for Quebec. My members will not accept View America. Many of the Canadian radical protest movements oppose the American domination of Canada. They would mercilessly critique the Vietnam War, imperialism, and capitalism. No! Adios, mi amor.
This cat is great, this cat's great, it's fantastic. Fantastic to have you on, as always. Now, congratulations on being made a Companion of the Order of Canada.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thanks for having me tonight.
And again, a pleasure as always. It's fantastic hearing about your work and just toward the equality of women in general. Now, the question is, how do you feel about the women's movement? 2 decades out, how much do you feel that it's successful?
Well, the establishment of the Royal Commission was our main breakthrough, and through that we were able to get funding for other women's groups and brought the issue of sexism in education to a provincial and national level. And we've even had a few progressive school boards and a research institute in Ontario.
Oh, wow. Now, the question is, are they still here today?
No, unfortunately, the women's movement our relationship with the mainstream institutions in education was unstable and short-lived. It even had an impact, but it had a major impact. And even though the Royal Commissions made over 167 recommendations, the federal government just couldn't implement them. We definitely tried to focus on the grassroots action as by creating a whole network of study groups, rape crisis centers, bookstores, committees, abortion clinics, and even abuse shelters.
So basically like a support system for women.
Yes, exactly.
Just overall.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much. We've even had the opportunity to publicize the importance of feminism through unions and International Women's Day marches. I mean, we've had some successes like the Women's Rights Act in 1977. The women's studies have been part of the curriculum. And we've had the formation of the NAC and other groups. Abortion is now legal and has been slightly decriminalized due to the abortion caravan from Vancouver to Ottawa. However, I still find that men have a control in the political, economic, and social front. Men control the student movement and often refuse to allow feminist issues to become part of their agenda. And the Human Rights Act still can't do anything about the 18% wage gap between men and women. So what do you have to say about this?
It hurts. To be honest, yeah, you should be sitting where I am. Right now. Right now.
Thank
Yes,
you.
we are doing this, ladies and gentlemen. This is